Hey, it's Pat from the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. I'm just jumping in before the start of the episode to let you know about Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And those are the two big things that sold us on Anchor when we were thinking about creating this podcast that you're listening to right now. We've been using it for almost a year now, and we have been nothing but satisfied with the experience. Further on, Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you also for free, and it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn, anywhere you want, really. Basically, anywhere the podcast can be streamed, Anchor can get it there for you, even on the Anchor app. And you can also make money from your podcast with ads like the one you're listening to right now. So if you've ever wanted to make a podcast, be sure to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started. Welcome back to the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. It is officially, well, it's Sunday now, but today was the first night of WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania 37, Night 1, and we're here for our review show. As promised, we're doing a review for each night of WrestleMania in favor of doing one big one, so that's how we're doing this. We also had Hardcore Justice earlier today, and if you want to hear our thoughts on that, you're going to be waiting a little bit. Ryan and Angelo do plan on talking about it on the next episode of Ryan and Angelo's Impact Power Hour, which is coming out on Thursday. It's every Thursday because Impact has moved nights, for those of you who don't know. So if you want our review for Hardcore Justice, tune in this coming Thursday for Ryan and Angelo's thoughts on that, as well as this week's Impact episode. But this show is going to be our review for the first night of WrestleMania, and it is me, the current Deep Six Predictions Champion. I'm Pat, and I'm joined by...
I'm Ryan, and Pat, I know you said that we aren't going to do a review of Impact Hardcore Justice, but since you won't be on the pod, what were your thoughts?
Oh, man, I really don't want to just sit here and bury Impact for the start of this, but man, I really did not enjoy the show. Jazz and Deonna Purrazzo was good, and the main event, which was Hardcore War between Violent by Design and Team Dreamer, although Tommy Dreamer was not in the match, was good. Pretty much everything else on the show I could skip. I feel like I missed one of the better matches on the card, probably, in the opening match with that the Triple Threat tag.
Yes.
But everything else I could have done without. Johnny Swinger and Matt Cardona was way too long. The women's weapon match was... a thing that existed. What else was there? Sami Callihan and Sam Beal. No. The blindfold match. No. It's just, man. And the production was weird with them airing a full match from Hardcore Justice 2010 between RVD and Sabu mid pay-per-view. Was just bizarre to me. So it does not get a thumbs up from me, but the two main events that they had with Deonna and Jazz and the Hardcore War, those were worth watching, but the rest of it, not for me.
Yeah, I will go with you here. I'm not gonna shit on it because I thought that there were some really good matches, namely the Triple Threat tag match for the X Division at the beginning. The Deonna versus Jazz match, which was much better than their encounter on regular Impact a few weeks ago that me and Angelo kind of shitted on. I thought the main event was pretty good. Kind of disappointed that Dreamer, this is Dreamer's show basically, and he was resigned to I'm gonna cry in the corner with a doctor looking over me. And by doctor, I mean a man who just bought a doctor's coat from Party City for Halloween one year. And you're like, you're looking good, Doc. Yeah, they threw on two random matches that didn't need to be on the show. But I was glad that we did get extended Swingers Palace moments because I thought that they were great because Swingers Palace is great. I don't need him wrestling in a Great American Bash match. The 6 women match I thought was fine. I didn't think it was bad. It was just really, it started off awfully, and then it finally picked up and had a surprising winner. So, but let's get into the WWE stuff.
Yeah. Before that, I did watch Bloodsport last night. Pretty good
All
stuff.
of it?
Yes, I enjoyed Leo Rush. His match was really good.
He faced what, Yuya?
Yoya? I don't remember what the guy's name was. I've never seen him before.
Apparently he's an MMA fighter.
I got that.
And that is shorter than Leo.
Yeah, he was a very short Asian guy.
Yeah, but apparently, from what I saw of Wrestling Observer's review, it was a star-making performance for both of them.
Yeah, I suppose. I think mainly. I don't know Yoya, but so I don't know what else he's done. But for Leo, I think it showed that he's not just like this high-flying, like super fast-paced, like flippy guy. It showed that like another side of him, which I liked. Chavo and Rocky was really hard-hitting. I think the finish with Chavo winning with the Brainbuster was a bit strange. Like, it made sense, but the crowd just wasn't really ready for it. And then Barnett and Moxley in the main event was really good. Also, Allison Kay's match was pretty good too. I like her. So yeah.
I heard she came out to Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio.
She did. I don't know what song Moxley came out to, but it wasn't his regular theme song.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. But there was also one of the girl in the opening match. I don't know who she was. I don't remember her name. It's like Janai Kai or something. She came out to like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So they were using a bunch of like random songs.
Oh, I know the first the first women's match, I believe, at least according to Wrestling Observer's review, were both MMA fighters.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know either of them. So
yeah.
Yeah. So pretty good stuff. I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to watch Spring Break at some point as well because I've heard very good things about that as well.
Yeah. I'm excited for what it sets up.
Yeah, the big news coming out of Spring Break was obviously that Nick Gage and Jon Moxley are on a collision course for the GCW Championship, which don't think many people expected, but cool.
He must be. He must be pretty good friends with Janela. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah. So
since I believe Janela still is like a booker there.
Yeah, I believe Janela still is somewhat in charge.
Yeah.
But all right, WrestleMania. Let's talk about it. We have stuff to go through. So there was a pre-show. We did not watch this. We watched the last 10 minutes of it. So there was no matches.
10 minutes. 10 minutes / 45 minutes.
Yeah. So we tuned into the pre-show with the last 10 minutes, and then it went to the main show. We got America the Beautiful. And then we got a speech from Vince, or was the speech from Vince beforehand?
The speech from Vince was beforehand. Then it went into Baby Rex's performance of America the Beautiful, and then it went into the goddamn
so we got
video
real
package.
quick. Yeah, so we got Vince opening the show with the entire roster on the stage, and he just basically talked about the pandemic and how they had a mission of supporting the fans and everything, and he welcomed everybody to WrestleMania. Then we got America the Beautiful. Then we got the WrestleMania video package, and then we came back and they were evacuating the arena for severe weather. And then we went into, as Ryan was about to say, 45 minutes of interviews backstage with talents that they were just randomly going through to fill time. We started with Shane McMahon, which was a horrible choice for the first person to go, because Shane... Not a very good talker on the mic right now, and also especially not under
in character.
Pressure. Yeah,
I will say in character. He's not.
He's just not good at on the fly stuff like this either.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
Eventually, somebody in production gave mercy on him and sent Lashley and MVP in. So that was nice. They talked for a bit.
They circled around him for a bit while Shane continued to try to talk while there wasn't a microphone in front of him, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and eventually Shane left, and then MVP and Lashley started talking about their era and their upcoming match with Drew. Drew eventually came in, and he had words for Lashley, and eventually Lashley and MVP went off, and we got like McIntyre really firing up and getting a nice impassioned promo. We got
including him claiming that the weather was conspiring against him, which I thought was weird.
We got a New Day promo with Kofi and Xavier, and like halfway through, Big E just started like appearing and slowly moving up in the background.
No, we need to talk about who this man was with them.
Do we really? I don't think
Kevin Patrick. It was his first ever assignment with WWE, and to give it to the New Day, I thought was great to introduce this man, especially with Big E's first words out of his mouth.
Yeah, Big E just kind of showed up and he said, I've got a wet mouth.
Yep. If this is Kevin Patrick apparently works for CNN International. Imagine being like, oh, I've got your new assignment is you're going to be with WWE for a bit on the side. And this is your first assignment is somebody saying, I've got a wet mouth.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's a fair thing to bring up. It was definitely something. But Big E and the New Day, they're good together. So,
and they're great
Big
on the
E,
mic.
Yeah, he put over Xavier and Kofi and said that they're the greatest tag team on the planet. We then got a promo from Braun Strowman talking about how him fighting Shane tonight is for anyone who's ever been bullied, because Braun Strowman, this monster of a man, has been somehow backed into a corner by 50-year-old Shane McMahon, and is now having to fight him in a steel cage. And he chose. And I'm supposed to feel sympathy for Braun.
Yeah, because Braun Strowman claimed that Shane McMahon backed him into a corner for choosing this specific match, even though Braun was the one who chose the stipulation.
Yeah, and he ended the promo saying that he's ready to beat Shane McMahon within an inch of his life. So yeah, good positive message.
Yeah.
We got a really good promo from Kevin Owens about his backstory and like his history with Sami Zayn. So Owens, solid promo. We got a Bianca Belaire promo about her match with Sasha. We got a Seth Rollins one where the man just sounded like he was on cocaine and was cackling with joy. And then we had a Miz and Morrison one where John Morrison said that nobody could be as wet as Johnny Drip Drip.
Mm-hmm. And that they are the greatest musical superstars of the 21st century.
Yeah. And then that was it. Those two are the ones that closed us out. So for the pre-show...
No, you missed the best part.
What?
So they went to Peter Rosenberg and...
Oh, yeah, they went to the pre-show
JBL.
Panel. Yeah.
And they came back to go to one of these interviews, and Peter Rosenberg and JBL's mics were still on. And you can hear them talking, and Peter Rosenberg asks the question of, are we done for the night? Yes. Good, I really need to go to the bathroom while it's a hot mic. And then JBL says, I'm with you on that. So, great. This started off there were a lot of production issues with this stuff, including Kevin Owens during his promo.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
It sounded like a microphone. Yeah, it sounded like the microphone exploded.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
So out of these promos, I would say the ones that really highlighted who's a good like talker on the fly, I would say Kevin Owens. I would say the New Day, and I would say Seth Rollins were the very clear standouts. Everybody else...
And MVP.
MVP, yeah. Drew was fine. He just kind of didn't really have anything of substance to say.
He kept on saying that he wanted to do the match backstage, which, like... That's not great. Like, if you're a fan and you're just being told, like, the big face of the company is like, I just want to do this backstage now. Like, that's horrible. Like, the fans, imagine if they did that, they just had a backstage brawl.
Yeah. Shane and Braun were really bad. Bianca was fine, nothing special. And Miz and Morrison were not good.
Bianca, you could tell, was very emotional. And this was a very emotional night it felt like a lot of people, like during America the Beautiful, they showed Rhea Ripley like bawling her eyes out, which a bit weird for somebody who's not American during that song.
I think it was more just like the WrestleMania crowd, but yeah, it was weird to cut to her.
Lana was crying on stage. Edge was very emotional. Even during Vince's speech, they kept on panning to different people, and Edge was like very teary-eyed. Which, I mean, considering like this is Edge's first match back in front of fans since the Rumble of 2020. Got to be something to look forward tomorrow.
Agreed.
And yeah, there were a few others that looked very emotional. Yeah.
All right, so after the Peter Rosenberg thing, then we actually started the show. But before we could get to our first match, we got Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan coming out. Titus O'Neil got a Warriors welcome. Hulk Hogan got a mix of cheers and boos. Specifically, Titus talked the most, and as soon as Hulk Hogan started talking, he did get booed. So you love to see that.
Titus's facial
Titus was very clearly like enjoying when he was talking. Anytime Hulk was talking, it was very clear on his face he did not want Hulk to be there. But
when Hulk got it, when Hulk got announced to come out and his music started playing, Titus visibly rolled his eyes, which I thought was brilliant.
Props to Titus for putting up with this. Again, I think everybody would have preferred if it was just him, but at least this was like the most over Titus has been in WWE.
And hey, we get this tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyway, this sent us to our first match, which was for the WWE Championship. It was Bobby Lashley defending against Drew McIntyre. Drew came out with his Claymore sword, stuck it in the ground, and got fireworks. Lashley didn't have a really special entrance. He just had like the AR lightning.
I don't watch the product often. The last time I watched was literally the Royal Rumble, and before that was Money in the Bank. I thought that this was really like I didn't recognize Lashley's theme. Like I didn't remember it from the Rumble, because I don't remember him even having a match at the Rumble. So I think he had the defense of his U.S. title there, maybe. Possibly.
Maybe I don't remember either, to be honest.
But like I like his like the mute. I think his theme really fits him. I like it a little bit more than his old theme, actually. And I also like how when it started, it kind of like did like a video montage in, like it zoomed in on like his like Titantron, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. His entrance looked good.
Yeah.
Match, really solid stuff. I figured when we did our predictions, I feel like we mentioned that this was one we were looking forward to, and makes sense that it was actually this good because Lashley and Drew have good chemistry, building back from their time in TNA together, and also they had a match last year, I believe, that was pretty solid. So, can't be upset with this one. And I thought that this was the right match to open the show with. Both guys were very hot with the audience, and they had a really, really good match to open the show.
Yeah, I think, like I said it, that I thought that both guys got very warm welcomes or like receptions from the crowd. And when Bobby won, it like I said it to the guys that we were watching with, that I thought it like the crowd really popped for it. I'm sure whoever won was going to get a big pop, but I'm glad that Bobby, even if he is a heel, is getting that a hero's welcome, because for what he's put up with through the first half of his return to WWE, to see that they're treating him seriously is great, and he is a great performer.
Yeah, it was much deserved that he finally got something of substance, because even looking back to like 2019 Mania when it was him and Balor for the IC title, that was a match that was just a second thought.
Yeah, and even like last year's Mania was him versus Aleister Black.
Yeah, which to be fair was a solid match, but
it was just very weird with him throughout the match
Lana,
being distracted by Lana.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do have to say it is refreshing that this year's Mania, both World Championship matches for the men are likely not squash matches. Coming off of 2019, the opening match of Mania was Rollins and Lesnar, which was basically a squash. Last year, both of the world titles matches were squashes with Drew versus Lesnar and then Goldberg and Braun. So this opened the show. I don't know how long this was. It felt like probably like 15, 20 minutes. So I would say pretty nice opening match here to kick off the show, and it just felt refreshing to get, again, like a world title match that felt like being worthy of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I will also say that it's really good to have fans back in for this. We should mention
it made like a heck of a difference. Like even from watching AEW, who's had like 1,000 fans or whatever since sometime last year, this just felt like somewhat back to normal.
Yeah, the downside was they kept on flashing through the crowd, and there were a shit ton of people without masks. There was not really much social distancing. I would be very shocked. I would not be shocked to hear if we get a report from either WWE tomorrow when they announce the figures for both nights, which I'm sure they will, or if we find out from somebody else reporting that they oversold. Because it looked packed, especially on the lower end of the arena, where there were not gaps between people. There were no masks, especially like behind commentary. So anytime you saw commentary, there was just loads of people with no mask on in front around each other. And you can say, oh, well, they might be family. No, family is a few, like 10, 15, 20, 30 people.
Yeah, it was definitely questionable, and I think that is going to be a lot of people's biggest gripe with tonight's show, and rightfully so. They're definitely moving forward. If WWE is going to continue to do shows with like fans, they definitely need to enforce masks much better.
Yeah. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, well, Florida doesn't have a mask mandate," but like, if you're a business, you can mandate it. Like that's. It's like no shirt, no shoes, no service. A mask is an article of clothing that is protecting others. And they're not testing people to get in. They might do a temperature check. I don't know about that. But they aren't testing people. They aren't making sure that everybody has the vaccine. So they need, if you're going to do this, especially since there were people along the side, like the railing, without a mask while the wrestlers are like getting right up next to them. It's very dangerous for the wrestlers. Especially with, people like Roman Reigns, who has a health condition.
Yeah. You're not wrong. It was pretty like clear in the first match with like MVP walking around at ringside. That like the crowd was like very close. To be fair, the majority of people in like the front couple rows did keep their masks on the whole time, so that was fine. But like there were people like when the camera was cutting that just did not have masks on their face, and it wasn't just like they were eating or anything. Like there was people just like very clearly that just were not wearing masks.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I do want to give credit to WWE real quick. I enjoyed Vince's speech about like thanking people for being patient, acknowledging the pandemic. They didn't say like, oh, we were going through dark times. They specifically mentioned the pandemic. And I've said it before when we've talked about news and stuff. It's from all accounts, Vince seems to take this seriously, which. If you told me before, like at the beginning of the pandemic, that Vincent Kennedy McMahon, best friends with Donald Trump, was taking this seriously, I would have said, ha ha ha, you're funny. But no, it does seem like the main roster takes it seriously. It's everybody else in WWE, aka the NXTs of the world, that do not take it seriously. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say on the match. Like, I don't think we're going to break down each of the matches, like, move for move. It was nice to see Drew bring back the Future Shock DDT for a big near fall. He hit, like, 3 of them in a row.
Yeah. I love that move.
Did he hit, like, a Claymore? I don't think he hit one.
He went for 2, I believe.
Yeah.
And the biggest one was he was about to hit it, or he was about to run and hit it. MVP shouted Bobby and pretended like he was going to slide his cane into him. Drew got distracted, looked over, and kind of motioned towards MVP, who pulled the cane back. And then Drew went for it, and Bobby countered, which basically spelt the end for Drew after that. Which I think it was good to not have interference in this match.
I agree. I was worried that MVP was going to get involved, or that they were going to like do a stupid swerve with like Shelton and Cedric coming back.
Yeah, I also thought it was good. Like I didn't realize that apparently the cane is not like a kayfabe thing. Apparently MVP has a very serious knee issue, and he has said that he wanted to push off surgery because of Mania, which is why he's walking with a cane.
I respect it. It fits the look. I hope he keeps it.
Yeah, I like it.
And the finish came with Lashley getting Drew into the Hurt Lock. Throughout the match, Drew was trying to get Bobby into the Carmela Lock, which is interesting. But Lashley got him in the Hurt Lock. Drew fell down, eventually fought through it, but Lashley kept him locked in, and eventually the ref called it. And Lashley did not tap him out, but we got ref stoppage for this. So I think it was the right call to not have Drew tap to this. I also think the booking of the match made Drew look incredibly strong in defeat, which I think was the right call. They didn't sacrifice Lashley's title reign here, which I think, again, smart decision. Keeps Lashley looking strong, gets him to continue his run with the title. And Drew, again, looks really good in defeat. And both guys got a huge ovation after this match, and deservedly so. This was an awesome kickoff.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, and I am very glad that Bobby Lashley is continuing this reign. I hope it goes for a while. Don't know how long, but probably keep it to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I wouldn't be... It depends on if they're doing fans for SummerSlam. If they're doing fans for SummerSlam, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get Brock back and do Brock Lashley there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And to be fair, if Drew won, I wouldn't have been upset that Drew's champ again. I would be upset for Lashley's reign would have ended. But again, Drew is a made guy in my eyes, and him as champ would be fine as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Happy that Lashley retained as well.
Yeah.
I also
I do want to say one last thing about this match. I know WWE isn't listening, but god damn it, can you stop with the stupid AR stuff that doesn't make any sense?
What did
we had this was where we had Drew McIntyre's sword floating with the rocks, flying,
yeah,
the
this
asteroids
one looked really
flying
bad.
around.
Yeah, this one looked really
and
bad.
before that we had the goddamn skeleton with
this
the
was something
sword.
that appeared several times throughout the show, where they had a giant skeleton that looked like it was supposed to be coming out of the back of the stadium over top with a sword, and it just looked really bad. It looked very poorly done.
Yeah.
This has been something that I've always... we've pretty much all of our group has always complained about. The AR stuff does not look good. If they're going to do it, make sure it looks good. And most of the time it does not.
Yeah, there are a few that look good throughout this. I like the New Days because it makes sense. They're goofy. It's colorful.
I would say the New Days look good. Lashley's looked good.
Shane's looked silly because there was just so much of the money signs in all different colors.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny's was really over the top.
Damian Priest was fine, where it was just his name.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Cesaro probably had one of the worst of the night.
Oh my god, that's really bad.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. I do have thoughts from Rob there, and Rob's surprise to us today was that he was actually at WrestleMania. This is going to be the first time that all of us would have been together in who knows how long. For Mania.
The Rumble.
Which Rumble?
This year's Rumble. Were we not all together for that?
No, we were on Zoom.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I have no idea when the last time we all were together, so it's been a while. But before the show happened, Rob FaceTimed us, and we found out that he was actually in attendance at WrestleMania. So I did ask Rob for his thoughts, because I wanted somebody else's thoughts other than our own. And so for this match, Rob just wanted to say that he thought Lashley and McIntyre rocked, and he said that Bobby definitely deserved the win. So those are Rob's thoughts on the WWE Championship match.
And I would agree.
I would also agree, 100%. we go backstage and we have Bayley talking to the NWO. She was too sweeting them, and Scott Hall looked so old. That was sad to see.
Meanwhile, Sean Waltman looked like he could get back in the ring tomorrow.
X-Pac looks great. All right, moving on, we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders Tag Team Turmoil match, which was obviously basically a gauntlet match. And we started with Naomi and Lana versus Carmela and Billie Kay. Naomi and Lana got a very big reaction. Carmela, we're going to go through this very quickly. Carmela and Billie Kay eliminated them by cheating, and that was that. This was a horrible section of wrestling between these two teams. And then Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott were out next. This went very quickly. Also not very good wrestling. Billie Kay and Carmella went for the same maneuver here and got caught. And the Riott Squad eliminated them. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose were out next, and as they were coming down the entrance ramp, Mandy Rose slipped on the entrance ramp and fell. They got in the ring. Again, nothing very good here. The Riott Squad got another elimination. And then Natalya and Tamina came out last. They went for multiple heart attacks, and eventually Natty had, I think, Ruby Riott ready for like the sharpshooter. Instead of hitting it, she points to Tamina, shouts at her to go to the top, tags her in, and Tamina Snuka hits a superfly splash on Ruby Riott and pins her, as Natalya and Tamina Snuka become the #1 contenders to the women's tag titles and will face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax tomorrow on night 2. I don't know who in their right mind thought this was a good idea to put this match together on Mania. And then to have the audacity to tomorrow give us Tamina Snuka and Natalya versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. That is a match that I don't think anyone wants to see. Absolutely not.
This is not a Mania quality match. It is not a Mania quality. Tomorrow's match won't be a Mania quality match. I understand giving the women in WWE more of a chance to shine and trying to build up these tag team titles, but like nobody cares about Nia Jax and Shayna. They're not great. Nia is not good. Shayna's momentum has been killed since last year's Mania, and nobody cares about Natalya and Tamina in 2021, 2020, or 2015.
Yeah. The less said about this one, the better. This took up too much time, and this really killed the momentum of that first match. But thankfully, the show recovered from here.
Yeah.
Rob's thoughts on this were that he couldn't have cared less about this match.
Hey, man, I think that's most people's thing.
Yeah. Then we got the match that I think everybody was assuming would be one of the matches of the night, and we got Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro's entrance, I don't know.
Hold on, you gotta talk about Seth's entrance first.
Oh, yeah, Seth has a new theme song. Pretty good. I think they need to tone it down on the Burn It Down. It was just repeating very, a lot, but the actual, it's a much heavier theme song, and it's gone with, like, the Messiah, like, the Christian music, so that's good. He had some fire spikes on the entrance ramp, and a lot of them weren't working because of the rain, but the actual, like, theme song sounded good.
But then, once he's in the ring, we got the campaign ad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So once Rollins gets in the ring, I believe this aired on Smackdown, but it was basically Seth Rollins putting out like a smear campaign against Cesaro, which I thought was
apparently it wasn't made by Seth Rollins or any of his friends. Or it was made by the friends of Seth Rollins, not him, and it's not for any sort of campaign or endorsement of Seth Rollins.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And then Seth Rollins' trunks had, like, it
was like a parody of the Obama poster.
Yeah, like the Obama Hope. It just had Rollins in the blue, and red, white, and blue. And I don't know if it said anything underneath it. You couldn't tell because it was so low.
It might have just said, like, Seth or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But then we got Cesaro's entrance, which was super zoomed out, and we got sensory overload of just green binary coming at you like the Matrix.
It literally, I have no idea what the correlation here is to Seth Rollins and or Cesaro in the Matrix, but for some reason his entrance was just a bunch of ones and zeros flying all over the place. This looked awful.
Yeah.
But thankfully the match made up for this.
Yes, this was fantastic.
Yeah, I was very happy there was no screwy booking here or anything. Rollins wasn't, like, doing anything dumb. This was just a straight-up wrestling match, and everybody was better for it.
The only dumb stuff came from Michael Cole and the crowd not knowing how to count.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird counting stuff here with Cesaro's swing where the crowd was counting too fast, and then Michael Cole started counting too fast, which was kind of confusing because, like, the crowd, like, the first time Cesaro went for the swing, Cole was trying to go slow, but the crowd kept speeding up and it kept messing him up. And then the second time he went for it, where they said he got, like, 23 rotations, which was 100% not the case. I think we counted and it was, like, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just the crowd kept speeding up the count, and so I think that just kind of caught him up.
Yeah, the crowd's issue was that they were counting by, like, seconds, like 1, 2, 3, but, like, that's not how it, like, he's not spinning somebody in a second. Like, he's taking multiple seconds.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Anyway, match was really, really good, really fast paced from the get go. This was literally just them giving Seth and Cesaro complete freedom here. Seth kept pulling out a bunch of tricks from, like, his past incarnations. He went for the ripcord knee strike a couple times. He hit a pedigree. I believe he went for black magic. He went for the curb stomp. I don't know what
black magic is.
It's a kick thing.
Oh, gotcha.
He went for the curb stomp and got slammed with a brutal-looking European uppercut from Cesaro. And then, again, the whole story...
I think the bigger thing we need to do is he brought back the corkscrew splash.
Yeah.
Which he hadn't done in ages.
Yeah, this wasn't the Phoenix Splash. This was the corkscrew splash, which looked really nice.
He did do his Phoenix Splash pretty early on, but the corkscrew was right near the end, and it was a thing of beauty.
Cesaro, we got to see a nice neutralizer. I think he had, like, 2 in the match.
2.
We also got Cesaro doing the UFO, which looked really good. The crowd went crazy for that, and rightfully so. Him doing the UFO is very impressive.
The only issue with the UFO I had was Michael Cole saying, look, he's not using any hands, while his hands were trying to position him back.
Yeah.
You just need to time things better.
But yeah, Cesaro after the UFO, he got Seth into the swing, and we got the somewhere between 18 and 23 rotations, and then he got him with the neutralizer, and Cesaro pinned Seth Rollins 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania.
With a neutralizer, which I can't remember the last time I've seen Cesaro win with a neutralizer, which I thoroughly love.
We should preface that by saying that we don't watch WWE.
Yeah. So, like, I remember for so long when, like, people were just kicking out of that move on, like, random episodes of SmackDowns and Raws. So,
yeah, that's true.
Like, it wasn't it wasn't a protected finisher. And it was tonight, which I liked.
Still really cool to see Cesaro getting the win here.
Yeah.
One
crowd went crazy.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think they would have gone crazy for either guy after the match they had.
I don't know. I feel like, yes, but to the same extent, I feel like Cesaro still has a shit ton of fans who want him to get pushed, and are waiting for that. And to have this Mania, this is a Mania moment for Cesaro. Even if it's not for a title, it's not for, like, some huge, long-lasting feud, like, that's been, like, blood feud. It's just him and Seth Rollins, and it's a big win because it's over Seth. But it's also his first singles match ever at Mania, and to get a win, absolutely well-deserved.
Yeah, the fact that Cesaro's 40, some people are going to take issue with that, like, saying this isn't going to go anywhere for him, but this felt like a star-making performance for the guy for, like, the time that he's been in WWE.
Yeah.
And I would have to assume that I don't see him winning the world title or anything anytime soon, but I would have to assume that moving past Mania for the next couple months, Cesaro's in line for a pretty good push.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be kind of weird to have him beat Seth.
Yeah, which to me, that's great. And who knows, maybe it might get me watching the product weekly. It absolutely will not get me watching the product weekly, but
hey man, maybe what if it, I feel like if Cesaro wins a title, you got to start watching SmackDown.
If Cesaro is in a world title feud,
you'll watch SmackDown for that.
I will watch certain episodes of SmackDown.
Fair enough.
And I might even have to do reviews about me, and I'll complain about the goddamn cuts.
Yeah. Rob wanted to say that Rollins and Cesaro was great. He noted that Seth Rollins did lots of cool, innovative stuff, and he officially did say Cesaro and Rollins was his match of the night for night one.
Nice.
So,
I would probably go with that as well.
That's fair. It's between this and the main event for me.
Mm-hmm.
We got a recap of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal from SmackDown. We got a promo from Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode,
and we got a recap of their match as well.
Yeah, but I don't really understand the point of this.
They whoever interviewed them, was it Sarah or Kayla? One of the two.
No idea.
Asked because they're tag team specialists. She wanted to get their insight on the New Day versus Omos and AJ.
Gotcha. I could have done without this.
Apparently,
didn't really add anything.
Yeah, apparently they dressed up real nicely because they were asked to come to WrestleMania by the Hall of Fame class of 2020 to get pictures with them and the Gold, even though the belts are blue and silver. Also, apparently, Bobby Roode's nickname is the Big Guy because, Dolph called him that at least twice during this segment, which he's not that big. Like, he's not that much bigger than Dolph, and we all know who the true big guy is.
Yeah, Ryback.
Oh, yeah. Bring him back. Bring back him and Axel. Ryback at the SmackDown after Mania.
I think everybody's good love. Anyway, we got the Raw Tag Title match, which was AJ and Omos versus the New Day. The New Day came out first, and they had Big E doing their introduction as the New Day, which got a really good reaction.
I love Big E.
I believe Rob did know. Let me check my text from him. He did say that he especially enjoyed Big E coming out with them. So basically, the whole thing of this match was it was AJ for the majority of this. Eventually, Omos tags in and just absolutely destroys Kofi and Xavier. He hit some like slams onto his knee, some like back breakers, which looked really good. Specifically, the one on Xavier, which he followed up by putting in like the Iron Claw on his face. And the big move here was that AJ jumped off the like a springboard for the phenomenal forearm, jumped onto Omos' shoulders, kind of slipped, and it looked a bit messy, where he hit Kofi with the phenomenal forearm, and then he ordered Omos to lift him up, and we got a huge like chokeslam power bomb to Kofi Kingston, and then AJ orders Omos to pin him with one foot on his chest, and he does, and you have new Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ Styles and Omos. For what it's worth, the stuff with AJ and Kofi and Xavier, all really good, as expected. I mean, those three are all very good wrestlers. Omos didn't have to do anything big here. He looked imposing, he looked cool, and his backbreakers looked cool, and the powerbomb looked cool, so sure.
I think you can have a lot of fun with AJ and Omos, especially with AJ's moveset, especially when it's indoors and not slippery.
I would also say that the personality and like the chemistry between them also helps that.
Yeah, Omos is not he was talking trash throughout this, which I thought was great. Like, he's not just like a bland, like, monotone big man. He was talking trash. The New Day sold a lot of stuff, like they were cowering in fear throughout Omos' time in the ring, which I thought was great. And yeah, I mean, he wasn't anything. He was a very average big man in ring, but some of the moves looked really good. And yeah, I don't know how you go forward with them, because the WWE does not care about tag titles. And I can't think of another tag team on Raw.
Elias and Jackson Riker.
They're both heels, and I don't see
I have no
AJ
idea.
and like
You had, I mean, unless they make like Mason T-Bar into faces or something. I have no idea. That's a good question.
yeah, or you have another superstar shakeup.
Yeah, or you just form some new teams or something. I have no clue.
Yeah, because like it feels like the SmackDown side has a lot of teams, considering they're able to get a fatal 4-way for the titles, and we can't think of any other teams other than Mason T-Bar possibly, and the New Day, and Jackson Riker and Elias.
Yeah. And hey, man, I would prefer if Jackson Riker's not in title matches.
Hey, man, were you happy that it? Well, we'll get to
that
them.
wasn't. Anyway, this was fine. Rob wanted to say that he thought the match was fun, and that's what he said. AJ and Omos versus the New Day was fun.
Yeah.
We got Jerry the King Lawler making his entrance as he joined commentary for Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. As Braun's
he made a really stupid joke about Byron Saxton.
I don't even remember what it was.
So he was like, "Oh, I'm glad to be sitting with you guys. It's just like old times," and he says something about Shane O'Mac and how he's like a WWE legend in the ring. And Cole said, "Oh, here we go again," and that's when Lawler said, "Oh, it's just like old times." And then Byron says something, and Jerry Lawler says, "You know, I don't have to put up with you. You know why? Your initials are BS. You know what that means? Byron Saxton."
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not catch that, but sure.
Yeah.
Anywho, as Braun got a massive reaction here for his entrance.
I like the choo-choo sounds at the beginning.
Yeah. As he came down to ringside, Elias and Jackson Riker jumped the barricade and attacked him. They eventually brought him into the ring, and the door was locked. This is a steel cage match, if that wasn't clear. Shane dominated for quite a while. He had a float over DDT, a big coast-to-coast. He started climbing. Elias and Jackson Riker tried to help him get out, but Braun got up and grabbed Shane through the cage and eventually just ripped the wall of the cage.
You're ahead of yourself. When Jackson and Elias tried to help, he ran straight into the cage and knocked them out, and Shane fell from the top.
Oh yeah, there was a toolbox. I forgot there was a toolbox thing where Shane got a toolbox from one of the corners and bonked Braun on the head.
Yeah, that was the ending here.
Yeah, then Shane started climbing. Braun grabbed him through the cage. Then he ripped the cage open, pulled Shane back in. They got on top of the cage. Braun then threw him off the cage with Shane doing a big jump here onto his back. And Strowman came back into the ring, pulled Shane up, running power slam, and he pinned Shane McMahon 1, 2, 3. I had no care for this match. The coast to coast looked cool. The ripping of the steel cage was a great visual. Shane taking the big bump was good. Other than that, didn't really care for it. It was pretty fun. It was a steel cage match
with these two. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also again right before he pinned or he hit the final move on Shane. He says, "This is for anyone who's ever been bullied in their life." And yeah, again, no, I don't care. Braun, if it was somebody other than Braun, maybe a bullying angle works, but Braun, I don't know. He's an asshole.
I just didn't care. Storyline or not, I just don't care about either of these two.
That's 100% fair.
Bailey showed up at ringside saying ding dong as she just talked to the commentators. I assumed this is where Becky was going to return, but it wasn't.
She also sat on Michael Cole's lap.
This sent us to the Hall of Fame section where we got to see them on stage. William Shatner and Jushin Thunder Liger weren't there. They just had their pictures. And it does seem like we're going to be getting the 2021 class tomorrow. This is the only time where Hulk Hogan was resoundingly cheered, but it was because he was with the NWO. I'm sure.
And he came out with the NWO title.
Yeah. We also had a hype package for next year's WrestleMania in Texas, where it was narrated by Stone Cold. At some point also in the night, I think it was earlier, we got the announcement for WWE 2K22, and it looks like the cover star is going to be Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, all it was literally, it showed Rey's silhouette and then him putting on his mask. And then we got actual gameplay footage that is from a work in product game. Where it was just Rey Mysterio hitting a 619 and like a taunt on Cesaro. The graphics look good like normal, but
the gameplay that matters, like when it actually comes down to it.
Exactly, yeah.
So
we didn't see anything special. It's not like, oh, Rey Mysterio, he hasn't been in a game in forever. No, he was in the last game, and I'm pretty sure he was a cover. I feel like he was a cover star like a few years ago.
I don't think so. I think he was like a pre-order bonus that was on the special edition.
Gotcha.
Anywho, we get our next match, which is Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. This starts with one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life playing, as an army of Easter bunnies hop down to the ring, get in the ring, and just start hopping around before The Miz and John Morrison's... what's it?
No.
Hey Hey Hip Hop is the song name?
No. Hey Hey Hop Hop.
Hey Hey Hop Hop. Okay.
We're not going to stop before we say this is a $1 billion company. They couldn't do anything better than a bunch of Easter bunny outfits that multiple ears were falling off throughout their entrance. The backs of half of them were open, revealing like they're like them shirtless or like tattoos and stuff. Like, this was so poorly produced and done. And the ref is in the middle of this, and he's just wondering what the fuck he just walked into. And then we got Miz and Morrison singing their songs on... so they had live mics, and I was like, they must be lip singing because I hear like a voiceover track. Nope. They were singing over top of the track that had the music on it. Or they're them singing on it. So you got double the dose of it. At least over this, and I thought that was trash.
Yeah. It would have been one thing if they were doing like the Tai Chi, like fake lip syncing thing or something, but no. I also forgot to say Rob's thoughts on the last match, so real quick before we continue.
Yeah.
He said Braun versus Shane was actually pretty solid despite the terrible build. Shane should probably slow down on the crazy spots though, which is fair because he's getting older. Then we got Bad Bunny.
This is a man who survived a plane crash or a helicopter crash, walked away from it, and people assumed he was a bystander. Like, first responders assumed he was a bystander because of how like no injured he was.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, it's crazy.
He's a wild man.
Damian Priest made his entrance, which looked pretty good in like a huge arena.
I love Priest.
Yeah, very good wrestler. Very cool entrance theme. Very cool look. Yeah. And then we got Bad Bunny's entrance, which started with like a pre-tape thing of him riding through the streets on top of a tractor trailer as like sparks were randomly hitting it, which I was a bit confused at. Looked like, I don't even know what it looked like a superhero riding a truck or something.
We called it Optimus Prime multiple times.
That's fair.
It like, also there was no point to the sparks because like it wasn't like a low-rided tractor trailer. It was just a normal tractor trailer.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of the sparks were. I think it was just like visual something. But he pulls up to the stadium, and then it cuts to the live feed, and the tractor trailer pulls into the arena as his song Booker T plays. Booker T was on commentary. The crowd went absolutely bananas for this man, and to be fair, he probably had the best entrance of the night. He just looked like a superstar. Like, Seth Rollins wants to talk about having drip, and same for John Morrison. This man has the definition of drip. This man looked like so
phenomenal.
Cool.
Yeah. I also have to say that you might not like his style of music, and that's fine. Booker T it's a song that like you can bob your head to. I like it. I was bobbing my head along to it. I thought
Booker
it sounded
T or
better.
not Booker T? Bad Bunny has some good songs.
Yes, no, I agree with that. I also want to say that weirdest part about all this was they panned to Miz and Morrison, who looked like they just shit their pants over this, which made no sense.
I think they were just shocked that he had a cool entrance.
Yeah.
The AR for Bad Bunny, Ryan did tease it before. There was a lot to take in.
Yeah, I also think that if you're a Bad Bunny fan, like, please explain to me why his symbol thing is your two pinkies underneath or pointing to your eye. Like, I don't get that, how that's a bunny or anything. Joey said it might look like whiskers, but, like, it doesn't. Like, unless you're...
I don't know.
Also, Pat, I don't know if you noticed in the video package who was in it, but your favorite late night host
was Jimmy Fallon. Oh,
yeah,
good.
he did the Bad Bunny thing with him.
Oh shit, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Anywho, Damian Priest and The Miz are the ones to start, but The Miz demands that Bad Bunny gets in. Bad Bunny tags in and is basically, we have the reverse here of Omos and what's his face and the AJ match, where the person with the least experience is in this match the most. Bad Bunny was in here for the vast majority of this match, which I thought was pretty cool. It showed the commitment to him, and the commitment like that this man has put in for the last couple months really showed. Like, he didn't do anything like truly crazy, but he had some good spots. You know what? I can't even say that. I can't say he didn't do anything crazy. We'll get to it, but to start off, it was just like some punches. There was an arm drag. There's a drop toe hold, and then we got the big spot where he hit a big tilt-a-whirl, which looked pretty cool. Shades of everybody's favorite diva, Kelly. I'm sure Angela was proud.
I hope. That's his girl.
Yeah. Damian Priest eventually gets into the match at some point, and does Damian Priest things. We got I believe there was a skull-crushing finale hit for a near fall that Bad Bunny broke up, which I was very scared at that skull-crushing finale that we were about to see the Miz pin Damian Priest, but thankfully that wasn't the case. And then we see Bad Bunny on the floor with John Morrison, and Bad Bunny hits a Canadian Destroyer, or as commentary dubbed it, the Bunny Destroyer, on John Morrison. If you told me at the Royal Rumble when Bad Bunny first made his appearance and hit his like big dive off the turnbuckle that we would see at WrestleMania, this man hit a Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison, I would have called you crazy, but we did see it.
Yeah, what's your... I thought that was great. What I don't understand, and again, like, if you listen to this, tweet at us or something, I don't know. But people are like, oh, it's very symbolic, that move for Bad Bunny. Nobody in this match does Canadian Destroyers. It's not like Miz and Morrison hit a Canadian Destroyer on him earlier in the feud. So I don't get why it's symbolic, unless his favorite wrestler is Petey Williams.
Maybe that's the secret. I have no idea. And
never wrestled in WWE, Petey Williams.
Yeah. Our finish came with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest setting up for a Doomsday Device, which they turned into basically like a diving crossbody off the top rope from Bad Bunny on The Miz, and Bad Bunny pins The Miz.
I've already dubbed it the Cross Bunny because every move that they made, they
tried to work in as many bunny puns as possible.
Yeah, his spinning, his like rotating DDT was called the Energizer Bunny, according to Booker. Yeah, bunnies all the way. His splash is the bunny hop. Yeah.
Yes, Rob's thoughts on this match. He said Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and Morrison was surprisingly good, and Bad Bunny looked like a star with his entrance and the reaction he got from the crowd. He looked absolutely incredible in the ring. Definitely one of the best celebrities in ring, if not the best ever, and I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, I would say the only person that I can think of that comes close to this is Amel. And that's because he had like in WWE, I'd say probably Bad Bunny, because the match was okay that he had, but like he did get a second match outside WWE, and that was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I would definitely say like your top celebrity like matches would probably be this, Stephen Amell's matches that he had, and then like the Shaq match from AEW.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I think I think if Bad Bunny sticks around for another match, I think you'd need to. I want to see a singles match with him, honestly.
I feel like they're gonna do something.
Yeah, just because I mean the dude literally moved his entire life down for 4 months to prep for a match. Like, that's dedication. He didn't come just for like shits and giggles. Like he came to show up. Like, he's clearly into wrestling. He clearly respects wrestling. And if like he has a singles match, like, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be 5 stars, but like I have him go against the Miz in a singles match and just like show what he's got.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I want him with the Miz. I mean, the story's there, but the Miz isn't like a super entertaining wrestler anymore.
It's just a safe pick.
It's a safe one, but
safe.
I feel like there would be a more entertaining partner for him. I don't know who, but
hey, turn Damian Priest heel. Say he showed him up, and then have Damian Priest kill the bunny.
If he was on SmackDown, I'd feel confident about putting him with like a Seth Rollins. They would be able to probably do some cool stuff.
No, he wants a strong style match against Shinsuke.
Yeah,
he's actually a real big fan of the New Japan style. And if he's not getting that match, he's going to New Japan and he's challenging Suzuki.
Oh, okay. Our main event was Bianca Belaire versus Sasha Banks for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca got a great ovation from the crowd as she came out. The one thing to note here with her AR graphics, Ryan, if you want to take this away because you noticed it.
Yeah, so her AR graphic was her braid, which I'm going to say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You don't need it. Like, I understand it's like, I guess you can say it's like very iconic for her, but like it kind of detracts from the match, and it's like, why would you give somebody an opening? Like, throughout this match, Sasha would just pull on her hair, or to pull her to the ground, or pull on her hair to keep her in place so she can attack her. I don't know. Like, I just feel like you can do without the braid. Like, she does it in her normal life. She doesn't need it for wrestling. But it was running it inside the braid. It had I am blank space EST, and it had like different words going through it. So it would be like, I am the toughest, I am the baddest, I am the boldest, I'm the whatever. And then my issue with this was on her Titantron, it says the EST of NXT, even though she has been on SmackDown for what feels like a while. Like, probably at least half a year, if not a full year.
Who, Bianca?
Yes.
Bianca debuted at Mania last year.
So, yeah, okay, so she's been on the main roster for a full year. There's no reason to call her the EST of NXT, because Cole kept on calling her the EST of SmackDown. Why have you not updated her graphic in a year? Yeah,
that was a questionable thing. And it's not like that's a thing that they use every week, I'm assuming, so I don't know.
I hope not. I hope they don't. Well, no. Because the EST of NXT is her Titantron.
Oh, I didn't even keep that, yeah.
So that is a weekly thing, I'd assume. Unless they mess it up.
Unless it's just supposed to show, like, her career from, like, where she started.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, that could be it, but who knows. Anyway, this was your main event. From what I've seen of the build for this match, it's been kind of lackluster, where it was a lot of this was them teaming up to fight for the women's tag titles, and this kind of took a back seat, which I know some people were upset about. The match itself, though, absolutely delivered in the main event.
Yeah.
I thought this was a fantastic closer. Sasha Banks really does very rarely not perform great when she's given a lot of time. Her and Carmela's match from the Royal Rumble I really enjoyed. I enjoyed this one quite a bit more, but I think that has to do with the fact that Bianca was in this. Bianca just, again, literally from the moment she came out, looked like an absolute star, and the crowd loved her for every second of this.
Yeah. I do have to say that Sasha's new look of the blue and green hair is... I think it's a little much.
It. I thought it was
her facial makeup was god-awful. With the different shades of green and glitter. It reminded me of...
I think that was just for Mania. I don't think that's like a full-time thing.
Because it reminded me of the Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch experiments of we're just going to put a shit ton of really weird makeup on your faces that make you look like raccoon eyes. And it's going to run down your faces during matches because you're going to sweat. That's how I felt about those matches. You don't need... you want to show off for these matches, but you don't need to overdo it on the makeup because it's just going to be distracting, especially late in the match where you're zooming in on their faces because you need to do a million camera cuts.
Yeah. Anyway, match here. I thought this was just a fantastic closer to this show. It with these two, it would have been very hard to disappoint, and I thought they went out and just gave it their all for however long this was. I don't know the actual match time for this one, but it was clearly very emotional for Bianca before the match even started. She was just crying in the ring as the fans just clapped for her, and I mean you love to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. Because you said that Sasha rarely disappoints in the big matches when she's given time. I disagree with that statement. I think that she's very hit or miss in those moments. I think it depends on who she's with. She's one of the very few people, I think, that has awful chemistry with Charlotte. Her match at Hell in a Cell was one of the weaker women's main events or big matches in the past year. Or past few years, I should say. Her and Charlotte just, during their whole feud where they were just flip-flopping the title, basically, I don't know, I just didn't, her and Charlotte just didn't click for me. Her and Carmela, I thought, shocked me this year, because Carmela is not the greatest in-ring, but she has improved, and Sasha... minus the part where it looked like she almost killed herself on the dive, was a pretty good match. This match, I didn't know how it was going to go because I hadn't seen them work against each other before, and I haven't watched too many Bianca singles matches, especially on the main roster. But I thought these girls had really good chemistry throughout this match.
Agreed. The biggest thing to note here was obviously towards the end of the match with Bianca's hair whip to Sasha Banks that sounded like a gunshot went off in the arena. And Sasha Banks came away with it with just a nasty looking cut or welt or whatever it was across her ribs.
I don't originally I thought it was just a mark, but when she was crawling out of the ring at the end of the as Bianca was celebrating, it looked like she was bleeding out of it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. It looked brutal, and it definitely got over. So props to Sasha for taking that, but Jesus.
Yeah. I think that's one of those ones that it definitely helped that was open air. Whereas if that was indoors with no crowd, then it might be loud because it would just echo. But with a crowd, it wouldn't have been as loud in my opinion. So I think this helped by that.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things where it's cool the first few times you see it, but if this becomes a thing that happens every match for her to retain, is I have to whip somebody as hard as possible.
I don't think they'll be too reliant on it. I think she'll still do it occasionally, but I don't think it'll be a reliant thing that she has to do. I think they'll stick with the KOD as her finish.
Yeah, again, I guess it's nitpicky. I don't see the braid as something that needs to be a thing still.
I think it's just there because it's something different that nobody else does.
Yeah.
Anywho, I thought this was a fantastic Women's Championship match and a great closing. Bianca wins with the KOD, and I do have the time here, 17 minutes and 17 seconds. So almost 20 minutes they went, and I thought it was the perfect amount of time. Not too short, not too long.
Yeah. I think this was the perfect amount of a WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think
seems like they're aiming for 3 hours because the first, like we said before, it started about 45 minutes late and it ended around 11. So it started around 8:45. I think it ended around 11:35, 11:40. So aim for 3 hours, perfectly fine with 2 3-hour shows back to back.
Yeah, much easier than watching like an 8-hour one show plus like a kickoff or something.
However, I will say it again because I think it needs to be said. You could have taken this women's tag match, put it on a pre-show.
Yeah, again, I think that doing it tonight, though, it shouldn't have been on the pre-show. The first match back had to be that world title match.
I mean, like I said while we were watching it, put that on the pre-show of tomorrow.
That's fair. Again, this really, or just take it out entirely, or just make it instead of a tag team turmoil. Just they could have done like the
Fatal 4-Way.
Riot Squad. No, they could have just done like the Riot Squad versus Tamina and Natalya.
That's fair.
Overall, I should say Rob's thoughts on Bianca and Sasha before we wrap things up. He said it was a good main event, not his favorite match of the night, but definitely a strong way to close out the night, and he said right winner as well.
Yeah.
Again, I thought this was a really solid show from top to bottom outside of that tag team turmoil match. If you got rid of that, this would have been literally like a perfect card. Braun and Shane wasn't like, again, I didn't
wasn't
hate
offensively bad.
I wouldn't even say it was bad. Like I've seen worse steel cage matches. Corbin and Roman come to mind.
I don't remember it. It must not exist.
But the world title match was a great opener. The Raw tag title match was fun. The steel cage match had a great visual with the cage being ripped open. Bad Bunny over-delivered in his performance tonight. Cesaro and Seth Rollins had a fantastic match, and then Bianca and Sasha had a great match in the main event. So overall, really good show. Just that tag team turmoil. Thank God it wasn't later on in the show. They got it over with when it happened.
Yeah.
I would give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I would give it a thumbs up as well.
Yeah.
You want to go over the predictions scores?
Yeah. Coming out of night one, Sam is in last place with 4 points. Jake at 5 points. Angelo at 6 points. Ryan and Rob are tied for third with 7 points. Joey's in second with 8, and I am at 9, leading the pack.
Yeah. Just me being curious. Who still has people for tomorrow in their lottery? Because I have both my people still.
I have nobody. All my lottery people are done. Angelo has nobody. You have both your people. Joey has both his people. Rob has The Fiend. Sam has Roman Reigns. Jake has Asuka.
All right.
So yeah.
It's good to know.
I don't know how many matches everybody differs on tomorrow, and I'm not going through it all again. So
yeah, that's fine. But you can run down the card for us.
Yeah, I can do that. That is doable for me. So
they haven't announced. It's not like today's show where they announced the opening and the end. But I think we can safely say Edge, Roman, and Bryan are ending the show.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to debate that. So tomorrow's matches, we have the women's tag title matches, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against Natalya and Tamina. For the U.S. Championship, we have Sheamus and Riddle. Singles match with Logan Paul at ringside, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. The Nigerian drum fight between Big E and Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. The Fiend versus Randy Orton in a singles match. For the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. And in the main event, we have a Universal Championship triple threat, Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. So that's the Mania card for tomorrow.
I just want to say one last thing before we leave, because I'm a huge Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fan. If you told me back in their NXT days, or even when they first started feuding, or first started on the main roster, that these two guys would be involved in a storyline with Logan fucking Paul, I would have told you, nope. Maybe WWE has somebody with Logan Paul, but that wouldn't be those two guys. Insane.
Yeah, that's fair.
The two most indie guys, basically, on the main roster in recent years, being paired up with, like, the anti-indie man.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'd call him the anti-indie man.
Like, he's not, like, an independent name for, like... He's as corporate as you can get with, like, somebody who's, like, a megastar, brand deals out the wazoo.
Yeah, sure. Anywho, that's going to do it for our WrestleMania review. I do want to say I did just see something pop up. Wrestling Inc. is reporting that Samoa Joe is no longer going to be doing commentary for Raw. Corey Graves is taking over his responsibilities on Raw. No word on if Joe's going to SmackDown, but if he's not, then I would have to assume that this week we might see Samoa Joe make a surprise return to the ring on SmackDown or Raw.
Hey, man, that's good news. Just tell Samoa Joe to stay away from commercials.
I forgot that's how he got injured.
Yep. It was the Must Be Mondays commercial, I believe, for Raw. Yeah, I was going to say that it's very interesting. Like, I think Samoa Joe gets compared to Taz a lot because, like, that's who kind of, like, I guess promoted him in Impact when he first showed up. I believe they were partnered together, at least for a bit. And I think that it's interesting that both of them have a very similar look, and both transitioned very well into commentary, but I would have hated for Samoa Joe's career to be basically over due to a goddamn commercial.
That's probably fair. If he stays healthy, I'm all for that, man. Coming out of Mania, if he's on SmackDown, if he goes after that world title, either challenging Roman, Edge, or Daniel Bryan, oh my god.
Yeah, those are all really great ideas. Nobody is going to boo Samoa Joe, I don't think. I think everybody wants to see this man back. He's great on the mic. He is great in ring. And yeah, I think it should also be said that before the show, it was announced by a few different places that Tom Phillips tested positive for COVID at about 4 o'clock today before the show and got pulled from commentary and was replaced by, I believe, Cole for every match tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least for Cole, he wasn't calling an 8-hour show, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's interesting to note that, like, and also I guess we should talk about, or at least mention that apparently Monday we're getting a new Raw announced team in general, not just Samoa Joe, but also...
Yeah, it'll be Byron, Tom, and...
No, not Tom.
Oh, Byron, Corey, and what's his face? The new
Arden, guy. Or Adnan, or I don't know. The dude from ESPN who apparently leaked confidential information and got fired. And then apparently... SmackDown is trying out some MMA fighter / announcer, and he was posting pictures of him interviewing people today and yesterday. So he is there. Apparently he had a tryout in March, and apparently they're going to try him out some more this week. But he might be going in as a new SmackDown commentator, which I guess that would make sense if you're replacing Corey.
Yeah. So that's that. I think that's everything.
Yeah, can't think of anything else. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, we will. I don't know who's going to be doing the podcast tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure it's most likely going to be me and Ryan, or maybe just me.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Unless we get another rain delay that pushes it till like past 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll be back with a review later today we'll be back with a review for WrestleMania Night 2. And then coming this week we'll have a regular schedule with Dynamite on Wednesday and Ryan and Angelo's Impact Power Hour on Thursday, covering Hardcore Justice and this week's episode of Impact.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So
thank you guys for listening.
yeah, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. It's free. It helps us out. And also be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. You can also check out our YouTube channel, which has been updated recently with a number of punishments that you can check out. So
Yeah.
be sure to do that.
Yep. And thank you guys for listening and taking the time out of your day. And if you guys can, leave a rating or share it with your friends and family or that weird guy at the dollar store.
Yeah, especially him. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight, and we'll see you for night 2.
Bye.